Before that, though, we're going to reveal our top 25s. Put them before the firing squad. See who comes out unscathed. A couple shots here and there. I don't think it'd be too bad this week, though.
No, I feel pretty good. After JP made his ballot, I compared ours. I'll be interested to see if he dogs on me as usual. Which, I mean, not to be like making fun of JP, like it's fine. Some of my stuff understandably gets dogged on.
Yeah,
it's part of what we do. It's fun.
Deserved.
It's all
Deserved.
good natured. But I'll be interested to see because I feel like ours are pretty close. It's almost like I don't know. I'm interested to see how this goes. T25 Sports, T25sports.com. Go fill out your own ballot, and then it gets like combined with everyone who submits and spits out a consensus ballot. And so it's kind of like an AP vote, but it's everyone can have one. Share with your friends, share with your family. Right now, the three of us vote. Our family votes, or my family. I guess y'all's family doesn't.
No.
And then our friends vote. So it's super fun, and we talk about it on the show every Sunday, and every Thursday. But yeah, let's get right into it. Who wants to start? I feel like JP hasn't gone first in a while. Do we want to start with JP's?
We'll start.
JP, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, there you
go. So I have Ohio State still as the number one team in the country after the win at Washington. Oregon jumps to 2, Miami at 3, A&M 4, Oklahoma 5. And I feel really weird about having A&M and Oklahoma sitting at 4 and 5 right now.
Yes.
Someone mentioned the standards. I think there's a clear top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like if someone doesn't have those 3 teams top 3, crazy in my opinion.
Yeah.
And after that, there's a big drop off, and so I agree. It feels really weird to stick anyone at 4 or 5, but someone has to go there.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say I also have A&M and Oklahoma at 4 and 5, and I think that the thing that sets them apart is like the fact that they are undefeated. Like not that that's all that matters,
sure.
but like they are in the same tier, like team wise, like with the next teams, the Alabama, the Georgia, the Texas, maybe in Indiana. Like they're closer to them than they are to the top 3. But it's the fact that they're undefeated that's kind of like makes me feel very comfortable having them as like the 4 and 5, and then there you can filter out the rest.
Sure. Anyway, continue, JP.
Yes. I think that's obviously that's going to be subject to change, though, and I think
100%.
The 3 teams behind them are going to be the teams that's subject to change that, or one of those 2 teams will prove that they deserve to be up there, and they're going to get those opportunities here in the next few weeks. A&M gets to host State next week, and then the Red River Shootouts in 2 weeks, and Mateer is kind of expected to play now in that game, per his doctor and per him. Bama.
Was that a message board post too?
Per him is not a message board
Okay.
post, but per his doctor was. He's also one of the best hand surgeons in the world. He helped Steph Curry with his wrist injury. Bama jumps all the way up to 6. Very impressive victory. Holding out, really. Georgia had their chances, but Ty Simpson and that offense was cooking in the first half, and they've jumped all the way up to 6 for me. That's the win over my number 1 team last week. So hard to not put them ahead of Georgia, who I have at 7. Texas I have at 8. And then I have Texas Tech and Indiana sneaking into the top 10 because I thought Indiana looked impressive. Eking out a win, sure, but against that Iowa defense, they were able to avoid what was kind of a letdown loss after a big win against Illinois last week. Georgia Tech cheated their way to a victory. Refs didn't call an offside.
Bad.
Complete BS for Wake Forest and the Demon Deacons, and so they have to drop a spot. But Texas Tech and Indiana are 2 top 10 teams, and I will say about those teams, I do feel like they deserve to be in the top 10. Unlike A&M and Oklahoma, top 5. Those
Valid.
teams I feel like have proven enough and have the good enough performances that they deserve to be there in the top 10. Tech at 11, Tennessee at 12. The school up north moves up to 13 with a victory over LSU. I don't have them higher than that because I don't think they've proven themselves really away from home. The Kentucky win is a win, but it's also the worst team in the SEC, arguably. And they'll get that test in, I think it's 2 weeks. They'll play at Georgia. And then they also have to play at Oklahoma the week after that. So then I think they can assert themselves into the top 10, but I haven't I just don't think I feel like I've seen enough to say that this is a top 10 team in the country, and yet they're 4 in the AP. LSU drops to 14 behind them. Can't put LSU ahead of a team they just lost to. Michigan stays where that. Iowa State stays where they're at. Penn State falls all the way to 17. They don't have. They're 0-4 against the spread. They also just don't have a victory yet. They'll, of course, incur victories and move their way up, like Notre Dame now has, with the big blowout win against Arkansas, moved them up to 20. While they've got 2 losses, they're now up there with the big win over Arkansas. And then USC comes to town in a few weeks. Illinois hops back in for me. I was really high on USC, and that was an impressive victory. Game-winning drive for Luke Altmaier. And the Fighting Illini jump back in. The Cavaliers of Virginia into the top 25 at 22. Lone loss to NC State on the road, but a big win against Florida State. That was electric. I think that was the second best game of the weekend.
Valid. I loved it
outside
personally.
of Penn State, Oregon. That was the second best game in terms of environment and just kind of feel.
Thoughts on the storming the field?
I thought it was electric.
I loved it. I get it's unsafe for the player, but to me, field rushing is always a little unsafe. So
Yeah.
it feels like hypocritical to suddenly hate that one because of that reason.
I mean, it genuinely terrified me, but I think just because of the way their field is, I think it was like a like lightning in a bottle, very rare situation where the game ends in that end zone with the guy on the field intercepting it, and then 20 feet away you have like 3,000 students who aren't even having to jump over anything. It's just
You just run down the hill.
run down the hill.
And you're basically already at the bottom
Yeah,
of the hill.
which was so that was like low key. I was like, oh my gosh, he might have just got trampled.
And
Yeah.
I'll say there's not really at least one that comes to mind of a player getting hurt during a field storm.
Yeah.
There was
wasn't
there a basketball injury in a court storm?
The only recent one is like wasn't it Caitlin Clark?
Got pushed or
Got
something.
pushed.
Yeah.
I thought a Duke player got hurt, but maybe I'm misremembering.
If that happened, I don't.
Yeah, I don't remember
can't
that off the
recall.
top of my head
so.
either. Florida State drops to 24 after the loss to Virginia. They are simply one-dimensional right now. It feels that way. The only threat they have passing-wise is a 50-50 ball really down the field.
Sure.
That's all they showed against Virginia, and that's all they showed against Alabama. They are a run-first and are really a run-only team, it feels like right now. And they have a big test this weekend where they host Miami. So I'm Kaflopowski.
That's who you're thinking of, yeah.
Is he at Duke?
Yes,
Okay.
you're correct. I'm not sure how hurt he really got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was just upset they lost. And
Okay, cool.
Arizona State stays in the top 25, dropping 2 spots only because of Notre Dame, Illinois, and Virginia being impressive. But they rightfully are ranked behind Mississippi State because that's where they deserve to be.
Yeah.
And that's where they should be. But here we stand.
I think it's funny you have Arizona State dropping after beating a ranked team and Notre Dame jumping them after beating an unranked team. And like I get like Notre Dame was very impressive against Arkansas, so like it's not just like who you beat, it's how you looked, and Notre Dame looked fantastic.
And Notre Dame has also lost by
4
points to my
2.
third and
And fourth.
fourth team in
Yeah.
the nation.
Yeah.
So,
there's context there.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not just numbers. Jack, any thoughts?
I mean, I think Ole Miss is too low.
Sure.
That's really my biggest gripe. It's
yeah.
nothing egregious, but I have them, just spoiler, I have them at 4 where the AP has them. Already have 3 conference wins. I know they're not necessarily the best conference wins, but I like what I've seen from them. Their defense, I think, is a little better than I expected it to be. Trinidad Chambliss is just kind of the guy moving forward. I was really high on Austin Simmons, so I didn't think I'd be here.
Yeah.
But he just simply looks better, and Lane Kiffin agrees, and so they pick up another big win.
We were
Besides
talking
that,
beforehand. You said something about LSU and Penn State.
where?
LSU at 14, Penn State at 17. We were
Yeah, I think I would. I don't really like the Penn State being ranked below LSU. LSU, the Clemson win just doesn't really matter anymore at this point.
I completely disagree.
Is it because LSU lost on the road? and Penn State lost at home.
Yes, I think that's a large part of it. LSU, that is, I don't care how Clemson's season goes. That is one of the most impressive wins of the season, given the circumstances, given the context of the game. I don't agree with that notion because Clemson has gone off the rails, but they were on the rails at that point.
I completely agree they were better at the time. I think in my eyes, it's LSU loses to your number 13 team and Penn State loses to your number 2 team. LSU drops 6, Penn State plummets 13.
I think LSU has a much better win against or at Clemson, and then they also have an SEC win against Florida. How bad Florida is, sure, but it's an SEC win, and it's better than an SEC Kentucky win. Penn State 0-4 against the spread, and their wins are against Villanova, Nevada, and I can't even remember the last team. I'm pretty sure it was an FCS team. Villanova was the FCS team.
It was another nobody.
Yes.
I also think LSU is really hard to rank because how do you take into account the fact that Garrett Nussmeier is pretty clearly playing injured, and that is not nearly the only issue with this team. There's a ton of other ones. They can't run the ball, for starters. But that definitely plays a big factor. He can't drive the ball right now. And their offense is even really one-dimensional right now. Their offense is non-existent. But
yes,
we'll agree to disagree there. That's all I have.
Cool. Who else do you want me to go next or you?
I mean, if we're going in order, it would be...
There is no order. I'll go next.
Okay. I mean, we're kind of like cycling through. I don't know if that makes sense.
All right, so you next?
No, it's you next.
Okay.
If we go in that order.
I have Oregon ranked number 1 after
Terrible.
their win at Penn State. Given the environment, and then the expectations going into that game about how it was kind of a must-win for Penn State, and Oregon goes in and gets it done. They're at number 1, Ohio State at 2, Miami at 3. So we have the same 1, 2, 3. Oklahoma at 4, A&M at 5. And then, we've got this, the next tier of Indiana, Texas Tech, Ole Miss at 8, so a good bit, 3, 4, 5 spots higher than JP. Alabama and Georgia back-to-back at 9 and 10. Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech both drop a couple because Alabama and Ole Miss both had big wins over the weekend, so they jump up. Tennessee moves up. I had them in the 20s, and so they have to move up. I do think that winning in Starkville, even though the crowd was 70-30, 65-35, is still a hard place to win, and I think that State's a good team. I think we've kind of shown that. And also Tennessee, they get the win there, move them up. Drop Penn State one. I didn't drop them any lower because I already kind of had them where I thought they belonged, and I don't think they showed anything Saturday to make me move them lower. So I moved them from 13 to 14. Drop Florida State all the way down to 15. I was higher on them than the other guys, so that's why they're still going to be in my top 15. LSU falls. Texas falls just because other teams won bigger games than Sam Houston. Wait, who did Texas play? Bye week?
Bye week.
Sam Houston State was last week.
Yes.
Michigan, Illinois jumps back in. I'm kind of on the same page as JP. Illinois gets a big win over a USC team that I liked. And now with the Duke win, Duke got a win this weekend, so their Duke win looks better. Arizona State jumps in after beating TCU, who I had in the top 20 last week. The Missouri, Memphis both move up, and Utah reappears in the top 25.
Shout out Utah. They did have a pretty good bounce-back performance.
Yep.
JP, your thoughts?
BS.
All right. Well, there goes
Explain.
my hopes of having a
So, last week, you have Oregon at 12, Penn State at 13. Oregon defeats the number 13 team in the nation and is all automatically the number 1 team in the nation. And I understand winning in the whiteout, not an easy thing to do. But the way you can't feel the way you did about these teams last week and then watch that game and tell me that Oregon is now the number 1 team in the nation because they were not as impressive as they had been the weeks prior.
I said last week Penn State was still my pick to win the national championship. Penn State was still my best team in the country. They just didn't have the resume to be ranked top 10 because they'd played Villanova and 2 other nobodies.
And
so you can beat a team that isn't
12-13.
Yeah,
like,
but that just
not
because
even a top 10 win.
Just because I had them ranked 13th because I hadn't played anybody doesn't mean I don't think they're a fantastic team. And so now Oregon goes in and beats a team that I do think was very good. They just hadn't played anybody. And that's why I moved Oregon all the way up to number 1. Because I do think that was a huge win in front of the whiteout at night with everything on the line for Penn State, and Oregon gets the win. Like, Penn State had to win that game, and Oregon won it. Like, that's a huge win for Oregon against a team that I do think was very good. I just didn't have them ranked top 10 because they hadn't played anybody, and other teams had played in big games and won them.
I mean, I don't mind the big jump from Oregon. Ohio State was just more impressive in their road win against Washington, just completely shutting them down, winning pretty easily. And so I know Washington's not as good as Penn State. Like, I agree with that. I have Penn State. I don't have Washington ranked. But, like, Ohio State, I don't understand them getting dethroned, especially because they went on the road in a tough environment and performed better than Oregon, won by multiple scores, like, took care of business. So
I also think Oregon has looked better than Ohio State for a lot of this season. And so now they have a win. They actually have a resume to back how they've looked and how they've performed against lesser teams. And so then that's kind of what gives me my reasoning of like, okay, now they've got a good win. So they haven't played just nobodies. They haven't played Oklahoma State and Oregon State. Now they've played a good team, and they've also looked good against the lesser teams.
yeah, I mean, Ohio State has 2 good wins, though. They beat Texas, and they went on the road and beat Washington. And Texas you have ranked
Below Penn State.
Texas, you've dropped every single week.
So, I don't agree with that. I don't hate it. I just think it's this is the issue I think with doing resume based, because then also you have Florida State at 15 and UVA's nowhere to be found. And
UVA is nowhere to be found, but
beat
also
Florida State.
UVA did beat Florida State, but NC State beat UVA. Neither of y'all have NC State ranked. Like, you can't just say it's not 100%. If a team beats a team, they are ranked above them.
But if you're going to go by resume, a lot of
to
it's
do.
there. It is physically impossible, which is why I think solely resume ranking is just so hard to do. Because I agreed that UVA beat NC State, so why then is NC State has to be ranked? Or NC State beat UVA, so if you're going to rank UVA, you have to rank NC State. But I think, especially in resume ranking, recency has to matter more. The more recent wins have to carry more weight because teams change.
Yeah, that's why I have Alabama ranked above Florida State, because I
Correct.
recognize that.
So then why does it not factor in when UVA picks up a big win against Florida State?
That is fair. I mean, that is.
Do you think the way Florida State looked on Friday night, that's the 15th best team in the country?
No, but I think they had I think that was the low end of Florida State play.
Okay.
Fair. And I mean, and the Bama win. I'll be honest, the Bama win actually doesn't really look more impressive to me because it wasn't like
It's
they
not
beat
the same
Bama team.
Yeah, it's a different Bama team now.
So
Also, I haven't Tucker. You don't want to mention I have Bama at 9. Is that high enough for you, or am I still too low? I just want to hear Tucker's thoughts because he was giving me crap at the tailgate. But yeah, I got Bama at 9. Anything else? Yes, the UVA thing is not I didn't really know what to do with it. So that one I do deserve. That one I get that I'm gonna get crap for that one, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Deservedly, but I don't really know. Didn't know what to do with that one.
yeah, I mean, you're just in a tough spot with it, which makes sense. I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem. And I would expect you to put Oregon at 3. That would be my thing. Is if you had been so high on Ohio State to rank them number 1 team in the country for 3 straight weeks, and then they go and dominate Washington really for the last 3 quarters, not the first. Miami lost to the bye week apparently.
It happens, okay?
And Oregon beats your 13th ranked team in the nation in overtime. I just don't. It's just too reactionary for me. Oregon, this is why I had the problem last week, because Oregon should have already been up there. Penn State should have already been up there. And I agree with Jack. This is why resume ranking is so hard, because this is just so reactionary.
Okay, let me ask you this: if I just showed you the ballot, if you just saw this ballot and you didn't see how much the teams moved, would you have these issues with it?
No, because like you said, it's very similar to me. But I think that's if we're going to have voters and the voters are people, then I think you have to judge the person as well.
Yeah.
The movement does matter because there's a methodology to everyone's rankings. So
That's fair. Well, maybe now there's enough resume where our ballots are just going to be the same going forward.
possible.
We'll see.
Ideally, ideally that would make the most sense. That as the season comes to form and you know more about teams and more results happen.
That's what I've been saying was going to happen for the last 4 weeks. Is teams are going to stop moving as much.
I just think
It's college football is the problem. So
True.
you just don't get the same team week to week from the same school.
Yeah, that's fair.
It doesn't work that way.
you're also way too high on Utah.
Fair.
You have them at 25.
I don't have as much of an issue with that one, but we can get into mine now. I guess I can
Appreciate it,
face
Tucker.
the music.
Appreciate it, Tucker. He said that there's still room to grow. Jack, let me pull yours up.
I do have Ohio State at 1, Miami at 2, Oregon at 3. Ole Miss sits at 4, big jump for them. I just like what I've seen from them holistically. I mentioned it earlier. My Aggies sit at 5. I don't actually love that spot for us, but someone has to go there, and we just kind of were the natural team to fall there, considering a couple teams in front of us lost and we won. And we're dominant outside of penalties and the final score, which does matter. It matters the most out of anything.
Y'all
Which
had
is why I
3
don't really
touchdowns
love us
called back?
being there.
2 touchdowns called back?
3 touchdowns called back, 14 penalties for 140 penalty yards. Auburn had 150 total yards, so we had about as many penalty yards as they had offensive yards.
That's crazy.
One of the worst football games I've ever watched. So frustrating. Oklahoma's at 6, Indiana's at 7. Penn State, I don't have them falling too far. They dropped to 8. Tough loss. They lost in overtime. I still love the talent profile of this team, so I'm just not going to fault them for that too much. As much as I'd like to, because yet again they don't win the big game, but they win all the other games typically. So
Yeah.
Alabama jumps up to 9 for me. I'm Kalen Bohr. Thank you for not making me look foolish for still to back the Tide. Texas stays at 10. Tech climbs a little bit. Georgia falls 10 spots to 12. Frustrating loss for them. Get Bama at home. Can't get the job done. Had chances down the stretch. Couldn't convert 4th and 1, for example. Couldn't get the key stop when you needed it to get ball back. Iowa State raises a little bit there at 13. Georgia Tech falls to 14. Notre Dame's at 15, about where I had them. Other key things, LSU drops all the way to 17, falls 14 spots. I had them at 3 last week. Clearly too high now. At this point, I can't trust the offense to come around until it does, because also we don't know what's happening with Garrett Nussmeier. They won't tell us anything. Virginia hops up to 18 after being unranked. Huge win against FSU. Tennessee 19, Vandy 20. FSU falls to 21. Down 9 spots. Illinois 22, Missouri 23. Houston comes in at 24. Undefeated Houston Cougars. That's purely an homage to Cromie.
Yeah.
Nothing more. Yes, you can give me flack for that.
I'm not going to give. I ranked UNLV 2 weeks ago
So-
because they were undefeated in my preseason G5
And then
pick,
Arizona
so-
State I have at 25. They beat my 16th ranked team last week in TCU, which is a big win in my opinion. I really think TCU is a quality team, so they come back into the rankings. No State, though, so give me crap for that.
No, I'm not going to give you crap for that, but
Okay,
I
cool.
am going to give you crap for ranking Penn State higher than Georgia.
Okay, fair.
I think I don't even understand it from the talent profile. Maybe Georgia, I would understand maybe viewing Georgia lower on a talent profile, but they also have the much better win at Tennessee.
Fair.
And I think they were more in that Alabama game than Penn State was in the Oregon game, especially down the stretch. So I don't understand Penn State being ahead of Georgia.
Fair. I think I didn't like at all what I saw from Georgia, especially from like a pass rush standpoint, which is typically one of their strengths. They struggled to get after Ty Simpson. It's kind of been a bit of an issue for them now. They ran the ball pretty well, actually, which is what you want to see because they said they were going to get that fixed. But it was disappointing for me. I didn't like what I heard from Kirby Smart in the presser either post-game of just kind of brushing off the loss. That doesn't sit right with me.
I agree with that.
So maybe I just based off optics and everything I saw outside of the game, I dropped them too far, but that is where I have them sitting. So